Yeah, I'm so cold out here. Is this the right mic? Okay. Are we live? We doing this? We in here? Okay. What? Oh, there we go. What's up, Snapple? All right, we're back. Oh yeah, I was supposed to change the font on the chat. Guess I'll do it next time. What's up, Alfredo? I actually wanted to update my, or sort of fix my overlay a little bit. A little design I have, but I didn't get around to it. But it's all right. But yeah, we're back on a Monday. For those who don't know, I think the streams are probably always going to be on Monday now, instead of Sunday. Although I did stream, I streamed on Twitch a little bit yesterday. I streamed some World of Warcraft. I want to try to get back into doing some gaming content. Problem is, like, I don't have a lot of followers on Twitch, so I rarely get that many people in the stream when I'm streaming there. What's up, Keith? Where's my phone? So what's going on with everybody on this fine Monday afternoon? At least it's Monday afternoon here. I know there's a lot of people from not America that watch these streams. How do you feel about open relationships? Would you be in one or have been in one? I guess I've been in one. Yeah, I completely back open relationships. The problem is, I think that only certain people can be successful with open relationships. I think it requires a certain type of disposition. Like you have to have like certain ideas about relationships and monogamy, and just some people just don't really have that. What's up, Brittany? But yeah, I mean, I don't. It's kind of weird. Like I think that a lot of people who are essentially monogamists, is that the word? Monogamist or monogamous? I think a lot of people who are essentially monogamous try open relationships, and it often doesn't work because, they're monogamous. But I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, but I don't have a whole lot of experience with like real like labeled relationships in general, I guess. But I think monogamy is kind of dumb, but that's just me. I mean, a lot of people are super into it, but I feel like given my sort of experiences and my culture and things like that, it would be I think it would be beneficial to me to be okay with monogamy, because otherwise I think it would be pretty hard to find a relationship. But maybe I just got to find different communities to hang around. I don't think you have to lack jealousy to have a non-monogamous relationship. You just have to understand. You just have to react to jealousy in sort of a healthy way. Like, I feel like jealousy is normal. But if you like react to that jealousy by being like, mad and like taking it out on them, or, stuff like that, that's when it's a problem. What's up, Courtney? What's up, Cooper? But I don't know. There's aspects to monogamy that I think are just like inherently toxic, but I think a lot of it is just preference. But there's a lot of there's a lot of things where it's like, I've known people where they're like, you aren't like, even if you think about another person, that's basically the same thing as cheating, and that's, to me, that's ridiculous. But obviously that's not a defining characteristic of all monogamous relationships. What's up, Daniel? Your new setup for your videos is really good. I appreciate that. So like when I first moved into this apartment, I was having trouble trying to figure out where I was going to shoot my videos, because it's a pretty small apartment and there's no really there's not a lot of space. So that's why I was initially like switching to do a lot more voiceover. And you see, I did like a series of videos where it's like mostly voiceover. And then when I did shoot, I would just shoot here in this room. And as you can see, this room is pretty small. But then I was like, well, we have a dining room, but we don't use it. Or at least we don't use it as a dining room. Like, we literally just like put our mail on the table and stuff like that. So like, I live with my brother. My brother's my roommate. So I asked my brothers, like, do you mind if I just like convert the dining room into like a set? Because we don't use it, And he was like, yeah, I don't care. So now I have a lot more space. So I was able to sort of like put together a little set. And also I was able to use a different lens. Because the lens that I use in here has to be sort of, at least the ones I have, they probably make different ones that you can do different stuff with. But it's ones that it has to be one that you have to be pretty close to the camera. And it has like, I don't even know the correct terminology, but you can make the aperture lower, or you can't make the aperture as big as the other one, which means you can't have a shallower depth of field, which basically means you can't blur the background. But with the other lens, which I can be further away from, I can, and it just makes it look better. But yeah, I was pretty happy with how the video looked, and also like I worked a little bit on the color grading and stuff to make it look cool. Do you ever listen to Benjamin Dixon? Not really. I'm familiar with Benjamin Dixon. I was actually just thinking about Benjamin Dixon recently. It's like maybe I need to check that person out. So if you could choose, you'd always choose an open relationship. I mean, I don't know. In theory, yeah, but you never know what can happen in your life. Maybe you'll just meet someone and you're just like, I don't desire to be with anyone except this person because no one else makes me feel like that. To me, it just seems unlikely that one person is going to fulfill like every romantic relationship type need that you have. But there are many people who are successful at monogamous relationships, so it's obviously possible. I've been having this conversation a couple of times, and everyone is always viscerally saying that no, I couldn't. Yeah, I think that if you think you couldn't, you probably couldn't, though. But a lot of it is just sort of the traditional ideas of how relationships are supposed to work. Like monogamy is just sort of ingrained into like most of our cultures, I think. But you know, I've seen so much like stress and like seemingly unnecessary problems due to the unnecessary rules. Electro Lomain, thank you for the 333. I did look over the Alternative Influence Network article. The thing about the article is I don't think it's very convincing to people who don't already agree with what they're saying. I think that what they're saying is probably true, but I don't think they do a good job of proving it to people that don't already believe it. I think for a good analysis of it, you guys can check out Destiny and Dr. Layman sort of like analyzed the video. It's a video on Destiny's channel, and they sort of explain the problems with it. Even though Destiny, like, I think Destiny mostly agrees with it, but he still said that it wasn't very good. I don't know what Dr. Layman's. I feel like Dr. Layman veers towards the right normally. So he may not agree with it and stuff like that, but for more like analysis of that, you might want to check that out. All right, let me see if you left a message, Electric Lomain. I need to just make it so I need to put it back to where the messages just pop on the screen. What up, T1J? Just getting myself on the board. How are you doing today? I'm doing well, very well. Appreciate it. In your last video, you quickly touched on the effectiveness of anger/shaming on Twitter. You think that has a place, or are you mostly against it? Well, at the end of the day, I'm not that worried about what people are doing on their own social media. I suspect that most people who use shaming and anger are doing so, like as I said in the video, I think that it's usually retributive, like it's vengeance, it's like reaction. It's not intended to actually get people to change their minds, and I think that is probably ineffective. Or at least I think that is probably not the best way to go about things, is to just lash out because you're mad. It's understandable for sure, and that's why I'm not going to lose sleep over it, because, you know, especially if you're in a group or a specific person that's like a direct target of these kinds of toxic mentalities, I'm not gonna be like upset at you for being mad about it, you know. But I don't think you're accomplishing anything. But yeah, it's possible. Like I said in the video, it's possible that it works sometimes, but it probably doesn't work that often. Monogamy is a direct result of religion. Is it? Yeah. I don't know. I have to look into the history of that. I mean, it's probably a combination of, you know, religion and politics and all kinds of things. Monogamy became more important for me once I had to take more medication as I got older. I'm not sure if I understand. Maybe elaborate. What's up, High Flow? My sister just introduced me to Destiny. Yeah, Destiny is a character. I mean, I like Destiny, but I don't know, it's hard. I could go on for a long time about Destiny. And honestly, Destiny he's kind of changed over the years, and not necessarily in a good way. I think because basically what Destiny became known for was debating the alt-right, I guess, or debating people with extreme beliefs. And he did this for like maybe like a good year or so. And I think just so much of that has just turned him into a very, very cynical and just like pessimistic person. So I think he's at a point now where he just kind of doesn't give a fuck anymore. And it's like kind of, it's funny, but it's also kind of sad. But Destiny is definitely very, very smart, and he's very educated about the things that he talks about. Have you heard about how Blair White exposed some conservative YouTubers as being frauds? Yeah, I did hear about that. I don't know exactly. I didn't see exactly what she said, but I heard other people talking about it. I mean, I don't like to be cynical. I mean, I'm sure that some people are quote unquote frauds, or like say things that they don't actually believe for profit. But until such, and in some cases, I think it's clear that that's the case. But until it's like obvious that that's the case, I feel like it's pretty cynical to assume that someone is just saying something just for profit. Like, a lot of people just have weird ideas, like genuinely believe weird and or bad and or incorrect ideas. What time is it in the States? I'm from Sweden. Well, I'm in Alabama, and it is currently 3:21 p.m. Am I a janitor? Nope. It's been a minute since I've been asked that. That used to be the #1 question people ask me. I guess because I changed my name to T1J. Did I see the latest ContraPoints video? I did. Like, I have to admit, I pretty much watch ContraPoints videos as soon as they drop. She's like the best YouTuber. Monogamy and polyamory are just forms of relationships. They should be optional ways to exist. Indeed. Everyone has their own jam. I just think that the way, but I guess this applies to anything. I think the way that sometimes people express these relationships can be like a problem. But that probably, I mean, that's not unique to monogamy, so maybe it's not even worth saying. Well, Alabama is not really the East Coast, I guess. But the East Coast is in the Eastern time zone. Alabama is in the Central time zone. And there's different ways to do like open and polyamory, and I think that it probably different people think about it in different ways, because like there's some people who are polyamorous and they have multiple sort of partners, and the partners are relatively equal in terms of like significance in their life. And then there are people polyamorous who have like a primary partner and then sort of like secondary partners, if I don't know if that's the best way to put it. But both types of people may consider themselves polyamorous. And I thought about this before, because I don't know, I've never used the word polyamorous to describe myself, but I definitely think that open relationships make more sense than monogamy, at least to me. But I realized that if I were going to be in such a relationship, I would prefer to have a primary partner, because I've been in relationships where I was sort of like the secondary partner to another person who had a primary partner, and it wasn't ideal for me. So I think just everyone sort of experiences it in a different way. Appreciate you coming to the stream. High Flow. Northeast England, 9:25 p.m. Yeah. I actually am a little bit late starting the stream. I meant to start it about an hour ago. But we here. We have a friend as well who's in a relationship with two girls who are also in a relationship with each other. Yeah, that's another thing too. Some polyamorous people, sort of all of the partners are in relationship together as a whole. Or sometimes there's like a square or a triangle where some people are and some people are. And then sometimes it's like two people are together and each person has their own thing over here. So it's interesting. Hey man, it's been a while since I watched you stream. What's new? I don't know what's new, but thanks for coming to the stream. Been just doing on the YouTube grind. Have you watched any of the more recent videos? I'm really, really close to 100,000 subscribers. That's kind of cool. A triad is the triangle. Is that the name for it? Yeah, see, the thing is, there are a lot of these communities that like exist and have existed, and they have already sort of developed ways to talk about these things, and I'm just kind of pretty ignorant of that kind of thing because I'm just not really involved in those communities. Have I looked at Jimmy Dore lately or seen commentary about his brand of liberalism? I mean, I'm aware of Jimmy Dore, and I watched a little bit of his appearance on Joe Rogan recently. But yeah, I don't know. Jimmy Dore is kind of a bit much. I agree with him on a few things because I think that there's an aspect of the left, especially like liberalism as we call it in America. There's an aspect that is, I think, overly protective of and sort of apologetic for Democrats and the Democratic establishment and stuff like that. And I think that Jimmy Dore is correct to basically go in as hard on the Democrats as he does for the Republicans. Maybe not as hard, but I mean, he basically offers no concessions for the Democrats, which is, I think, what we should be doing. But he goes too far. Like, sometimes he slips into conspiracy theory territory, and sometimes he gets to a point where he's arguing that the left is as bad as the right, or that, you know, Clinton is as bad as Trump, or that the Democrats are as bad as Republicans, which I just think is just completely off base. How do you rate living with your bro as opposed to previous places you lived? Well, honestly, like, having roommates sucks. It's like it's just terrible. Even if they're people that you like most of my roommates have been like very good friends of mine. But there's always some kind of like either conflict or something that you don't want to deal with, and it's just terrible. But the problem is it's pretty expensive to live by yourself. But with my brother, it's a lot better just because me and my brother are just completely comfortable around each other, and we don't really have to, like, you know, if there's a problem, we can bring it up, and it's not like going to be awkward and things like that. It's still not ideal because we don't have our own space and we can't, you know, do everything we want to do at all times. But it's a huge step up. Why did you turn off dislikes on your latest vids? Not a gotcha question, genuinely curious. Well, I guess for the most in-depth answer, you should, if you look in the description of any of my more recent videos, if you go down the description, I have a link to a blog that I wrote about it. So that's probably the best answer. But the short answer is I just think the like-dislike bar is useless. It doesn't really offer me any information because most of the time you're going to get 90% dislikes because your subscribers like you and they're going to click like. And most of the time, the only time you get a lot of dislikes is when someone has sort of responded to your video or shared your video in a negative light, and then all of their fans come and spam dislike. So that's not useful either. Every now and then people use the dislike bar properly. Another thing is people use dislike to say I disagree, which I don't think is the best way to use dislike. I don't think it's useful to use a dislike bar that way because just because you disagree with something doesn't mean the video is bad. So I just don't think it's useful. I think it's a dumb system. And I think it's distracting. So I just got rid of it. I would consider polyamory to be a very stressful way of conducting a relationship. Even being honest with a partner about it will create more jealousy than I can handle. Yeah, I mean, it's not for everyone, for sure. Like I said, I think it requires a certain type of disposition. How would you handle jealousy in such relationships, and why do you think it's superior to what monogamy offers? Well, I mean, I think the way emotions work, emotions are often irrational. And at least the way my brain works, I'm usually very good at acknowledging when my emotions are irrational and not acting on them. And I feel it's the same way with jealousy. Because, you know, like if you're in a relationship, I think jealousy is normal. If you're in a relationship with someone you like and you like spending time with them, and you're in a position where, for example, they've chosen to spend time with someone else instead of you, I feel like it would be perfectly normal to feel a little bit of jealousy. But as long as you understand, it's like, hey, I mean, they have the right to do that. It's irrational for me to be upset about this. At least for me, like, I get over it very quickly. And I just, like I was saying before, I just think it's unlikely and just unreasonable to expect one person to fulfill just every romantic need and sexual need and relationship need that you have. But like I said, there are many people who have successful monogamous relationships, so it just depends on the person, I guess. Do you think the Republicans will get Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court before the elections? I have no idea, man. At this point, it seems like maybe not. But I really don't know. I don't know how you guys read YouTube comments at all. Well, here's a secret. I really don't. I read YouTube comments like within the first day of uploading a video, and then I stop reading them. It kind of sucks. I wish I didn't have to do that, but that's usually what I do. And look, honestly, most of my comments are fine. Like, I'd say like 85% of the comments are fine. But that other, 15% is like, ugh, this is like this is decreasing the quality of my day. Having read that made my day a little bit worse. And I eventually I was just like, it sucks, but I'm just going to stop reading them. But I'll read them in the first day, because the first day is usually just the people, your subscribers, the people that support you, the people that are not going to be like douchebags to you. Even if they disagree, it's not that they disagree. I think people like mess this up a lot. It has nothing to do with the fact they disagree. I think I've made a lot of videos that my own subscribers don't fully agree with, but it's in the way that you disagree. Yeah, I think it gets bad when you do. And honestly, compared to a lot of people, my channel is not that controversial. I honestly feel like my channel is it's like very first grade. Not in terms of the ideas. But just, I feel like a lot of my stuff is sort of like an introduction to talking about many of these ideas. So it's usually not that controversial. It's usually like, hey, let's just have a conversation about this thing. Every now and then I'll do something where I just sort of go hard on a topic, but that's rare. Like I did a video called "Guns Are Stupid." In that case, I guess that's controversial. I wish it wasn't, but that was me like 100% saying, this is what I believe and this is what I think you should believe. I rarely do that though. I rarely am like, this is what I believe, but I want to have a conversation and hear what you think about it also. But in that video, I'm like, all right, can we just like stop being dumb about this? Tips on growing a beard. I don't think that I'm the best person to give that. I think what you have to do is figure out. So from what I understand, growing a beard is just genetics. I don't know if there's actually something you can do that will change how much you grow a beard or how you grow a beard. There's a lot of people that claim that there's things you can do, but I feel like it's just genetics. I could be wrong though. But I think what you have to do is figure out what you can grow and then just highlight your strengths. Like for me, the beard grows a little bit down here, but it doesn't grow that much up here and here, or at least it grows pretty patchy. And then it grows to a certain point and then it stops. So what I decided to do is just keep this part low and just grow this. And I don't, it looks all right. I'm not the best in terms of like facial hair grooming, but I think it looks better than it would look otherwise. I need to like I need to like trim this so it looks a little bit better, but Ever thought of getting a Discord? Someone was asking me about that recently. I mean, maybe I will. I don't think that I have. I feel like I don't have enough audience engagement in order for that to be like useful. But I guess you got to start somewhere. I just feel like if I made it, nobody would use it. But maybe one day. I used to just shave pretty much, not all of my facial hair, but I used to shave it down pretty low. But I think that people like facial hair. Particularly, I think that women like facial hair. And I'm into that. I love your dreads. What's your opinion on white boys with dreads? It's another like old school question I used to get asked every day, but not so much these days. The answer is I don't really give a shit what other people do with their hair. The cultural appropriation issue is probably one of the most significant issues on which I tend to differ with other progressives. I think it's a completely overblown issue. Like I understand where people are coming from, but I think what we're doing is sort of like blaming specific individuals for like a societal problem. It's like missing the forest for the trees, I guess. I made a video about it, by the way. It's called WTF is Cultural Appropriation. I think that's what it's called. No, I think it's called Should White People Have Dreadlocks? Should White People Have Dreadlocks? Wait, what's it called? It's actually one of my most, I think it's like my second most watched video. It's kind of old, so I probably would say it differently now, but I think I still agree with everything in it. Yeah, it's called Should White People Have Dreadlocks? WTF is Cultural Appropriation. I think framing privilege as an individual fault instead of a societal problem is one of the biggest logical pitfalls of the left. I mean, I think that happens to some extent, but I also think that sometimes people are accused of doing that when they're not doing that. So I guess it just depends on the context. In the case of cultural appropriation, I think that that happens a lot. Like if you see you accost a specific person just because they have dreadlocks, and it's like, what are you doing? But for some people, just the mere mention of the word privilege, you get accused of doing that. You're saying it's bad. It's bad to be white. It's like, no, it's not. Actually, it's not what I'm saying. I'm happy you're getting the views you deserve, but at the same time, I'm sad at the loss of the intimacy that comes from a smaller audience. I guess. I don't think I've really lost that intimacy yet, but it will continue to dwindle as I grow. Do you know your family's favorite video of yours? Would you describe them as progressive as well? I guess. Most of my family doesn't really discuss politics that much. But, I mean, I would say that they're probably mostly on the left in most situations. I think most of my family is anti-Trump and anti-Republican for the most part. But, who knows? In certain specific situations, they might have more centrist or more moderate views, or even maybe right-wing views. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't really talked to them that much about my own videos, so I don't even know. I'm sure that most of them probably don't even watch. Do I still recognize some of my viewers? Well, yeah. I mean, I recognize people in the live streams. Like I was saying before, I don't read YouTube comments that much anymore, so I just don't see really who's posting. But I definitely recognize people from live streams and like people who tweet at me and stuff like that. Have you ever gotten in trouble with something or somebody IRL for a video you made? I don't know. One time my ex-girlfriend got mad at me for an old video I made about feminism, but I don't know. I felt like she didn't understand what I was trying to say. Would you consider becoming a politician yourself? Probably not. It sounds very stressful. Doesn't sound fun. But I think there's ways to be involved in politics without actually being a politician. My biggest criticism of the left is that intersectional movements often leave out disabled and indigenous people, like people who claim to be progressive and then use ableist slurs. Yeah, I would say that that's a fair criticism. Cats are dogs, definitely dogs. Cats are assholes. I was thinking about getting a cat just because they're easier to take care of than dogs and less expensive. And it might be sort of like a test. It might be like a just a way to practice patience, I guess. Not that I'm an impatient person, but I feel like it might be an interesting challenge. And usually when something is yours, you have a deeper affection for it. than when it's someone else's. But I think having a pet or an animal companion might be good for me. But most cats that I've met in my lifetime have been obnoxious. There are many obnoxious dogs too, but it is less likely, in my experience. How would you define your politics? You seem hard to categorize. More of a center person on most things. Hold on one second. Let me send a message. Hold on. I'll be right back. There's someone knocking on my door. Alright. Might be. Yeah, my mom came to give my brother some money, but my brother fell asleep, and so she was like trying to get in touch with us. Okay. But yeah, how would I define my politics? I think of myself as a progressive. I don't really think that I'm in the center at all. But there's a spectrum. There's a political spectrum. Like, some people are left, and then some people are more left than other people. Some people are right, and some people are more right than other people. So I would say that I'm to the center. I'm left of center for sure, but there are definitely people that are more left than I am. Dogs seem way more obnoxious than cats to me. My cats eat, drink, sleep, play, and cuddle, and that's it. I don't want an animal that barks and jumps on me and needs to be outside every 3 seconds. Well, I mean, that just depends on the dog, I guess. You can definitely train a dog to not bark and to not jump on you. And not all dogs need to be outside at all. Some dogs don't ever have to go outside. But it depends on the dog. A lot of people neglect to train their dogs, and that's pretty bad, for me at least. Untrained dogs are probably just as bad as cats. But the thing is, dogs are much more easy to train than cats. In fact, I feel like some cats are not even trainable. But just in my experience, the cats are just you have to like change your whole life around to like accommodate a cat. Like a cat like goes where it wants, it lays where it wants, it jumps on where it wants, it scratches up what it wants, and you just have to be okay with it. I think that's why people say that they're okay with cats, because they don't realize that they've adjusted their entire lifestyle to accommodate the cat. You don't really have to do that with dogs. Dogs follow your lead. You seem really reasonable compared to many progressives I've seen. I saw a while back you made a balanced video on Harris, for example. Most progressives think he is a Nazi or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm of like two minds about that, because I think there are a lot of times that progressives do sort of overstep their bounds. They sort of like go too far in certain things. But I also think a lot of times people accuse progressives of being unreasonable when they're not being unreasonable, because I think that a lot of the sort of the discourse or a lot of the narrative surrounding progressives have been has been poisoned by sort of reactionaries and right wing, because they sort of spread this narrative that the left is intolerant and the left is unreasonable, and it's really just often a misrepresentation of their actual positions. Because, you know, like a good example, like there's a big, if you on Twitter at all, you probably know there's been this big debate about genital preferences, and this idea that trans activists think that if you prefer a certain type of genitals, then that means you're transphobic. And so there's been like this big argument about that, but it's based on a huge misrepresentation. Like nobody makes that argument, really. At least no notable, known, respected trans activists or LGBT activists make the argument that genital preferences are transphobic. But yet this idea is basically, it's standard part of the narrative. And to this day, people will tell you that that's what trans activists believe. But it's not. It's just nobody has ever said that. So that's why I'm a little hesitant to agree with you on that, because that sort of thing happens all the time. But like I said, there are times where I think that people just take it to the extreme. Like we were talking about cultural appropriation earlier. I think that that's the thing that progressives routinely go overboard on. And I think Sam Harris is another example. Like, I think that there are a lot of legitimate criticisms of Sam Harris, but and also I think that a lot of it is because of the way that he talks, and he doesn't do himself any favors. But you know, that doesn't like it doesn't absolve you of your responsibility to sort of to engage something in good faith and trying to understand what's going on. Have you seen Rationality Rules breakdown of the Harris-Peterson debate? Nope. And I haven't seen the Harris-Peterson debate either. It doesn't seem like something that I'm interested in. I don't know. There's nothing like a trained dog. A trained dog is just, it's beautiful. They go where you want. They sit where you want. They don't bother you if you don't want them to. It's good. A cat will just decide, hey, you know what? This chair is mine right now, and I'm not going to move. If you try to move me, I'm going to scratch you or bite you. Fuck that. Keith Cooper, thank you for the $5. I really dig your channel, what your channel is about. Keep up the good work. I appreciate it. And I don't doubt that I've experienced some well-behaved cats, but in my personal experience, it's just rare for a cat to behave well. In my experience, maybe I've had just a bad experience. I mean, not all cats are just like I've ran into some cats that are just actually mean, and they just don't like anybody. But just in general, just the idea of sort of like my way or the highway that cats have, that seems to be like a trend and not just like only specific cats. But everybody who has cats think that their cats are amazing. Like I've experienced it so many times where people are like, oh, you have to meet my cats. My cats aren't like that. And then you meet them and they are, because they're cats. I think that certain breeds of dogs are probably like that, but I also think that it is more likely that you can train a dog to not be like that. Probably most dog breeds can be trained out of bad behavior. I don't know for sure, but I think that's true. And not even like bad behavior, but just annoying behavior. You know, it's not necessarily bad for you to like walk, like something that cats do all the time. I'll just be walking, and like the cat is like walking underneath me, so I like have to be careful not to step on the cat. That's not like bad behavior, but it's annoying as fuck. Like, stop doing that. Get out of the way. I'm walking here. So is the cat. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's how people. That's why people don't like acknowledge that cats are obnoxious, because they've just conceded to the cat. But I mean, it's fine. Whatever makes you happy. I'm just speaking from my experience. I'm sure that if I had a cat that lived with me for years, I would probably love it, because that's just what happens when you have a companion that you get attached to. Do I follow Greater Sapien? Nope. I don't know what that is. Is that a YouTuber? Oh, is it just like a science skeptic channel type thing? Or is it like an atheist channel, it looks like? Well, there's like flat earth stuff, and then there's like Bible stuff on here. Whoops.
Hey, new visitors, welcome to my channel. My name is Jerry.
Had to put down my cat Sancho 15 years this past Friday. I'm sorry for your loss. Your loss. One E4 or one D4? See, that's the type of questions that I like. Fucking chess questions. So I'm pretty sure that it's scientifically, or like data, statistically is the word I'm looking for. It's statistically proven that one E4 is better. But recently I've been trying to practice the London system, which, I mean, if you play chess, you know what that is, and if you don't, then you don't. But I've been playing the London system, which I love, and London system starts with 1d4. So but I'm not good at chess, so my opinion on which one is better doesn't matter. I used to, I think that 1e4 is like considered the best one to teach beginners, although I'm not exactly sure why. I guess because it allows you to move your queen, so just you can just move all your pieces like immediately. I hate playing against the London system as black, which might mean I should learn it as white. Yeah. I mean, I think that's why I like it, because it's like basically my strategy, and when I'm learning anything, is to limit the amount of things that I have to learn, and that's why the London system is great, because it works against almost everything black can do, or there's ways to alter it to, you know, challenge anything black does, so it works out. But you do have to play it correctly. Like if you make one of the moves in the wrong order, for example, like you could really mess up your whole thing. But that is true. Like learning how to beat something, often a good way to do that is learning how to play that thing as well. I know that from many years of competitive video games. Like, I remember playing Smash Brothers Brawl, and I always played Snake. But I would play against Pit, and Pit, I just get wrecked by Pit. It's like, I don't understand this stupid character. And then I just picked up Pit, and eventually, like, Pit became like my secondary character because I played him so much. I can only regularly play like 2 games at a time, and chess kind of got pushed out by Hearthstone. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Even like when it comes to competitive games, I usually only focus on one at a time. So I play chess every now and then, but there's, every now and then I'll just go hard on chess for like 3 months, but then eventually I'll start playing something else. Right now I've been playing a lot of League of Legends, which is unfortunate. Hearthstone, I like Hearthstone, but for one, it's kind of pay to win. Like it's like impossible to become competitive without spending any money. Unless you're just really, really good and just like win arena challenges all the time. And also, there's just so much randomness in that game. It's really annoying. But it's fun. I like it. Right now, in terms of competitive games, I'm probably going to get back into WoW PvP, and then I'm just waiting for Smash Bros to come out because I'm like essentially like legally required to play Smash Bros. Not for real, but I feel like I am. Like I feel like I'm doing the world a disservice if I don't play Smash. But I want to play Smash, so it's not a big deal. I made a cup of Diet Coke. It's kind of a bad habit. Like I'll wake up and drink Diet Coke. I should drink water. But I often just wake up and want something sweet, so I just drink Diet Coke. But I think it's probably not a good idea to wake up and then spend many hours without drinking any water. Do I have the tech to stream Smash Bros? I will probably have to get a capture card. I have one, but it's kind of janky and it only works sometimes. I think it's like defective. But I probably would just have to buy another capture card. But yeah, my goal is to stream Smash Bros. I'm gonna like the Switch. The Switch doesn't have a streaming thing on it, does it? I mean, even if it does, I think I would still prefer to do it with a capture card. Do I have an online bio somewhere? I don't think so. Which is interesting. I never even thought about that. Is that a thing I should have? I guess I don't really have anything to talk about in terms of an online bio. Like, what would I say? I could tell you like where I'm from, but I haven't really, done anything. Do you play any mobile games? Right now the only mobile game I play is Clash Royale. And it's pretty fun, but it's also pretty frustrating. Also, another game that is virtually impossible to be actually competitive at without spending money. But that's like every mobile game. Would you be streaming that on YouTube, or do you have a Twitch channel? I do have a Twitch channel, twitch.tv/theonejanitor. I streamed some WoW on it yesterday, and that was like the first time I streamed in like maybe a year. So my goal is to get back active on streaming. I'm trying to find the best way to transfer the people, like those of you that are interested in that, to to make sure that you know that I have a Twitch channel, because it seems that nobody knows that I have one. But I also don't want to spam those of you that aren't interested in that with my Twitch. So I don't know. We'll see. Well, you can ask whatever questions you want, Keith, and I'll answer. I have no problem answering questions, even if they're answered elsewhere. What about Zelda? Is it truly hard? You mean like the newest Zelda game? I don't know what people are interested in knowing. I mean, I could put like my date of birth and where I grew up, and then what else? Like, I don't have a college degree. I don't have like a normal job. I haven't like won any awards for anything. Like, what am I gonna put? Is the new Zelda game hard? I don't think it's hard. There are some parts of it that are pretty hard, but overall, I think the game, well, it's sort of one of those, well, it's not hard. See, the way the game works, it's just a completely open world game. So the way the game works is they just kind of throw you into the world, and they're just like, hey, go explore. And as you explore, you'll find stuff to do. That's basically how that game works, which I think is awesome. But if you're the type of person that needs like direction, or needs like, you know, like a hint about what to do, that game can be really frustrating to you, because you're going to be like, I don't know what the fuck to do. But what you're supposed to do is just explore until you find something. Well, I have a website, and I have like a FAQ on my website, but I honestly don't think that my Twitch channel is on it. But the thing is, nobody goes there. I feel like even if I had an online bio, it would still be a rarely viewed page. Like, if you go to theonejanitor.com/FAQ, there's a FAQ. That's probably the closest thing I have. Wait, I need to update this. It has my old age. It says I'm 32. I'm not 32 anymore. And also, I've been inactive on Twitch lately, so I think that's why I haven't been too concerned with like letting people know about it recently. In the past, when I was active, I tried to let people know, but it's still like I would still only have like 3 viewers every time I stream, so I don't know. My Twitch is the one janitor, THE #1 janitor. Twitch.tv/the one janitor. Zelda is somewhat of a sandbox game, which, if you have time, are the best games. Yeah, I love that. Like, I was unprepared for it when I first started the game, but I loved it. Like, I just love the idea of just being able to go wherever you want and just letting the story unfold wherever you go. And sometimes you'll go into an area and just not be prepared at all. It's like, whoa, these monsters are too hard. I don't think this is where I need to be right now. So you just leave and go somewhere else. Do you think you'll finish the Heiko video series? I'm going to do something with that. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish the video series, but I will do something with the Heiko thing. I don't want to talk too much about it yet, but there's something will come of that. The problem when you don't have any viewers is there's like no one to engage with. And so a lot of times you're either just sitting there trying to like perform for nobody, or you're just quiet because no one is talking, no one's chatting, no one's asking questions. So you're just kind of sitting there quiet. And I feel like that's not very entertaining. Like I'm not asking for like 1,000 viewers. I just like want some people in there so that I can have a chat to engage with, you know? Probably hosting someone now. No one's being hosted. Interesting. But yeah, I did stream yesterday. For those of you that are interested in the stream, the video game stream, I'm gonna probably start streaming on Twitch again. And as I mentioned before, I like competitive games, so that's mostly what I play. So I play. Like in terms, I like fighting games, and I like MOBAs, and I also like MMOs. So that's mainly what I will be playing. When Smash comes out, probably going to mainly play Smash, but I also play WoW and I also play League of Legends. Probably won't stream too much League of Legends because I'm not that good at it, and that's, you know, who wants to watch someone suck at a game? If I eventually get good at it, then I'll play. And sometimes I might even play chess on stream. Again, I'm not good at that game, but, you know. Also poker. I like poker. But, and I mean, a lot of the reason why I don't have, you know, a devoted following on Twitch is because I'm so inconsistent with it, because I keep taking like year-long breaks from it. Because, you know, if I would have just kept going with it, I would definitely have an audience. So that's my fault. Why do you think you ended up making videos on social issues as opposed to anything else? Well, it's just because I'm interested in that. That's sort of what I care about. But I realize that I don't really want my channel to be specifically about social issues. I want to give myself room to discuss other things as well. But that's just what I think about, you know? Like if you go to my Facebook, half of my Facebook statuses are, you know, talking about social issues and politics and things like that. It's just like, I think it's important, and it's something that I think about a lot. What do you think of girls on Twitch who get to shake their boobs for streams, but girls who do porn outside of Twitch but not on Twitch are getting banned? Is that a thing that's happening? They're getting banned just because they do porn on another site? Well, I mean, I think that Twitch has a rule where if you do something that breaks their terms of service outside of the site, you can still be banned on their site. And I don't know if that's a good rule, but I think that that is a rule. And I also think that it is already against Twitch's terms of service to quote unquote shake your boobs for streams. And I'm not even sure if that's like a thing for real, like if you're being hyperbolic, or if that's an actual thing that people are doing. Like, I think obviously people take advantage of the fact that people are attracted to them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're like necessarily using erotica or eroticism on their streams, but maybe it is. But I'm pretty sure it is already against their rules to use sexuality on your stream specifically. And maybe they're just not enforcing their rules fairly. I don't know about that. In my opinion, I think that you should let people use fucking, like, do whatever kind of show they want on Twitch. You know, as long as it's not illegal and as long as it's not porn, then who gives a shit? But if they're not enforcing their rules properly, then that's, you know, obviously that's a problem. But I can't really confirm or verify that that's happening. But I'll take your word for it. Yeah, no, I know that Twitch did like crack down on that sort of thing. But they even did it for men too. Like, they said that men can't stream shirtless and things like that. They may have reversed that rule though, I'm not sure. Oh, I'm streaming. Oh, my channel is auto hosting Lux Bunny now. I think she just went live. You should go check out my friend Lux Bunny. She's streaming now. An old friend from like back in the day. She's actually kind of Twitch famous now. Those of you who watch Twitch probably have heard of her. But it's kind of cool when you see like your friends like come up. You see where they came from and like you see them like succeed at the thing they're doing. That's like really cool to me. Well, I think that Twitch's argument was that streaming shirtless takes away from the point of Twitch, which is gaming, essentially at the time. And, you know, you're just sort of like using your body and or your sexuality instead of like just using your personality in the gameplay. I mean, I don't know. I think it's all pretty dumb. I don't know about the banning women who do porn on other sites thing. It could be the thing where I'm talking about if you do something that breaks terms of service on another site, then they still will ban you for that. Or they may think of it as a competing thing, which I don't think it should be because it's not, you know, porn is not gaming. But they may have changed their rules on that. But I know that, for example, if you're a Twitch partner, you're not allowed to stream on YouTube. That's like part of your agreement. So. Who is she? Who, Lux? Yeah, Lux is, she's just an old friend of mine. She streams, I think she mostly plays League of Legends, but she also plays other games. She's kind of like a variety streamer now. And she's just, I don't know, she's just like a sweet person who streams. She's pleasant. As far as I know, Twitch. That's Twitch rules. They may have changed those rules. Lux is also really pretty if you're into that. She's like one of the best looking people I've ever met. But yeah, she was an old drinking buddy of mine back in the day. I don't even think she drinks anymore. But we used to just like go to bars and hang out back in the day. Like I'm talking like maybe like 10 years ago. Like she moved away from Alabama maybe like 6-7 years ago or something. And it was cool just to watch her, because I remember when she first said that she was gonna start streaming. I was like, okay, that's cool, whatever. Then I look up and she's like, you know, she's killing it. She has like 100,000 followers. So I love that. I love seeing my friends succeed, especially succeed at doing some like fulfilling shit that actually like makes them happy. I need to resub to her actually. I used to be a subscriber to her on Twitch, but I had to cancel it because I was just broke as fuck. And I'm still kind of broke, but I think I can afford to sub again. Twitch is definitely one of the biggest YouTube competitors right now. Right now, I think it's like Amazon / YouTube / Facebook. Those are like the big three when it comes to like content. So, and I think that kind of competition needs to exist. What's the last interesting conversation you had IRL? Last interesting conversation? I don't know. I feel like all of my conversations are interesting. I don't even remember what is going on? Do y'all hear that? Oh, it's like a school bus. I don't know. I had an interesting conversation with some buddies last night about how, DC movies are bad, and like why they're bad and how they could be better. I checked out Dr. Nerdlove because of your shout out. He is great. Finally, someone with dating advice that's not batshit crazy. Yeah, Dr. Nerdlove is awesome. He also has a website too. If you've only watched the video, also check out the website. There's some high quality like articles and stuff on there. But I wanted to give him a shout out because I think he's like undersubscribed. I think he only recently started his channel. Maybe like within the last year or so, and he's got maybe like 3,000 subscribers or something. I think he should have more because he's sort of doing the Lord's work right now. Like he's doing something that is sorely needed on the internet. I recently subbed to the Majority Report, David Pakman, Dollarmore, Secular Talk, the Humanist Report, and the Rational National. Do you follow any of those? And if so, what is your take on them? I'm subscribed to Majority Report, David Pakman, and Secular Talk. Not the others. Of those, I think David Pakman is my favorite, but by far. Secular Talk and Majority Report come off as like kind of like edgelordy to me sometimes. I don't know if that's the best way. I don't know if you understand what I mean by that. They seem just very like snarky a lot of the time. Whereas David Pakman really seems to me to be like sort of more honest and more like, interested in parsing out the truth than the others do. But I mean, they all have their strengths and weaknesses, and I'll check them out every now and then. All right, ADX, thanks for coming to the stream. Appreciate it. What's your advice on starting a YouTube channel? Do you think it's more beneficial to find a niche or just post about whatever subjects you want? Well, it depends on what your goal is. If your goal is to find something that's going to be successful quickly, or if your goal is to find something that you find creatively fulfilling, even if it's not super successful immediately. In pretty much anything, niche is always important. Like niche always is better than general topics, because if you can appeal to a small demographic, you're just much more likely to find a lot of those people than you are to just appeal to a general audience. But maybe that will be less fulfilling to you. Maybe you don't want to pigeonhole yourself into a certain topic. I mean, that's what you have to decide. Like I was saying before, you know, I found myself making all these social justice videos, but I realized that I didn't want to only be a social justice YouTuber. And so if you look at a lot of my more recent videos, you know, I have videos about, like, you know, I made a video about football not too long ago. I made a video about, like, sort of like philosophy. So, you know, things like that. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with a niche. You know, there's like I don't know. I found a channel recently that was just like, it was about like woodworking or something. So it's like, I think it's probably this person who runs this channel cares about more things than just woodworking. But they've discovered that making a channel focus entirely on woodworking has worked for them and has been successful to them. So they just keep doing it, and it works, and that's fine, and that's what their YouTube channel is, and they can explore their other interests in whatever way that they want. So it's kind of up to you and what you, but in general, niche topics are more likely to be successful quicker than general topics. But a general topic could still be successful eventually and may be more comfortable for you. Who knows? The DC characters aren't cinematic. Just like inherently, I don't agree with that, because there are a lot of really amazing DC animated movies. So you can make a good DC movie, and that's part of what's so disappointing about the DC live action movies, is because we have the animated movies that show us what these movies could be like. In fact, some of the animated movies are the same stories as, or at least are adapted from the same stories as the live action movies. Like Justice League War is adapted from the same story as the Justice League live action movie. You know, there's multiple Suicide Squad movies. I don't think they're adapted from the same stories, but it's the same concept, and they're not bad. So I just think that there was not. I honestly think that they were not that focused on trying to make good movies. I honestly think it was just an attempt to capitalize on the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that not much effort was put into making a like good story. They thought that people would just pay for the ticket just because Batman and Superman was in it. See, I think it just a good writer. You need a good writer. I mean, maybe it's possible or possibly true that DC characters are harder to write because of that. But we've seen them written well before. And we've seen their characters fleshed out and things like that before. So, you know, it's doable. You just need someone who like cares about the source material and wants to make something that's good. To be fair, that worked for a little bit. I think that people are still going to go watch the movies. As far as we know, fucking DC and Warner Brothers and whoever, they may be completely satisfied with what they've done. You know, people still go see the movies. They're not going to break any records like all the Marvel movies do. But they're going to make their money. And maybe they're happy with that. Who knows? Do I like any DC movies? As far as like the new DC cinematic universe, the only one that I like is Wonder Woman. And even that's just like a part, you know, it's like a B, you know, it's not like amazing, but it's fine. As far as any movie that features DC characters, I mean, I like Batman Returns. Dragon Ball Super Broly. I'm curious on how they're gonna rework Broly's. Honestly, I don't keep up with the Dragon Ball Super that much anymore, so I'm not even sure what's going on with that. Do you like or sub to any film critic video creators? I mean, I sub to people who make video essays about movies and stuff. I don't know if that's necessarily makes them a film critic. But like, you know, like Lindsay Ellis and like Bob Chipman, and there's a good one I think is underrated. I think it's called Screen Prism. They do like a lot of really good video essays, but it's not like film criticism, so maybe that's not what you mean. Yeah, Screen Prism. It's like film analysis, I guess. What do you think of the trailer for Shazam? Honestly, like, if there weren't so many bad DC movies, I would probably think it looked awful. But at this point, I'm just like, I've lowered my standards so much that I'm like, man, maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be passable. Because it looks funny. And if it's like genuinely funny, that alone will make the movie watchable. Will it have a good story? Who knows? Will the characters be interesting? Will it be like an interesting addition to the universe? Who knows? But I didn't hate the trailer. I've not checked out Chris Stuckman actually. Yeah, Lindsay Ellis is amazing. Honestly, I guess I'm trying to like change this, but I don't watch that many movies. And I guess that's why I'm not that interested in like YouTube channels about movies. But I'd like to watch more movies. I just sort of have to like psych myself up to watch movies. It's kind of a weird situation where I just have to be like, okay, I'm going to sit down for like 3 hours and watch this movie. It kind of sucks. It kind of sucks to like go watch a movie because you're basically forfeiting your entire night or your entire afternoon just to watch one movie. And that's just, to me, that kind of makes me uncomfortable. But I'd like to watch more movies. To me, the ideal situation for watching a movie is watching it at home at like 2 a.m. when, you know, you're not going anywhere, so who gives a shit? But you can't watch a new movie like that. I guess unless you have like a bootleg or something. Did we cover MythCon? Actually, nobody brought up MythCon. I of course did not go to MythCon. I had like a sort of a debate slash argument with, I guess he's one of the directors of VidCon. I was kind of arguing with him today because, I don't know, I've just kind of been talking shit about MythCon because I think it's like a sham. And of course he would take offense to that because it's like his event. I guess Brittany Simon, who was here earlier, she left, I guess, but she was at VidCon or MythCon, so she would have an interesting perspective about that. But I'm guessing that she left because she hasn't said anything recently. But I sort of disagree with the whole premise of MythCon. And they actually asked me a while back to speak at MythCon, and I was like, nah, this isn't my jam at all. Did I say I was into American football? Yes, I think it's the best sport. Although these days I pretty much only watch college football. Every now and then I watch NFL. Honestly, I agree with that take of MythCon. From what I saw, the only way for me not to be angry at MythCon is to go to MythCon. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really that bothered by the existence of MythCon, and if someone wants to go, then go, like, you know, whatever. I just think that it's not useful, and I think that it's like, I don't know. It's definitely not a thing that I want to be involved in. But to me, it's like, I mean, I always use this analogy, but to me, it's like a conference for people who believe the earth is flat. It's like, I mean, that's dumb, and I don't want to do it, but I mean, whatever. Live your life. I got better things to do. I mean, it's not exactly a one-to-one analogy because a lot of the beliefs espoused by people who spoke at MythCon are like actually harmful to human beings. But just on an idea level, that's sort of what I relate it to. Do you like baseball? I respect baseball as a sport, but it's like boring as fuck to watch. But I respect the athletes. Like it's definitely a hard sport to play. I'm not good at it. You think football will still be recognizable, played the same in 30 years? And this sort of goes along with the next question about the damage that football players face. I did a video about this actually. For those of you that don't know, I think it's called "Should Football Be Banned?" So you can go watch that. But I'm definitely concerned about like the damage and stuff that these players are having to deal with. Really, I think realistically, probably what we're gonna have to do is either fundamentally change the sport of football to the point where it is unrecognizable and just maybe even a different sport, or we're just gonna have to just ban it, like ban it, like seriously, because it's unbelievably dangerous. The thing about it is, at this point, I think if you're a player, I mean, maybe this is not true, but I feel like if you're a player, you understand what you're doing. Like, you understand this is an incredibly dangerous sport. You've seen all the fucking articles and the movies and shit. You heard about CTE and brain trauma, and if these people know, in fact, I think that the teams, the coaches, I think they should be required to inform all of the students and all the players about this before they sign up to play. I think it should be like, I think they should be required to inform them about that. And at that point, it's your choice. Like, if you willingly play the game knowing how dangerous it is, I cannot stop you, and I don't think I should be able to stop you. That's on you. They've been doing so much. They've been changing so many rules and doing so many things trying to protect the players. And I back that, and we'll see what is effective and what isn't effective. But at the end of the day, there's still huge dudes ramming into each other and repeatedly hitting their head over and over again. And I don't think that's ever going to change until you completely just mangle the game until it's a whole entirely different sport. So I guess to kind of explain myself, if I go to MythCon, I would just be very combative. Admittedly, it wouldn't be very productive, but there's a lot of criticism that needs to be voiced, but never got the chance to. Yeah, I mean, I think if I went to MythCon, I would be constantly on the defensive, and I don't really want to have to deal with that. If we ban football, do we also ban combat sports? Yeah. Boxing is worse than football. Boxing definitely should not exist. In terms of like MMA, I don't know the data in terms of how badly the injuries are. I think one of the differences with football is they constantly do this shit every day for the better part of a year. With like boxing and like MMA, you know, you have like one fight and then maybe another fight like the next year. You'll train and stuff and spar and stuff, but a real fight is few and far in between. Meanwhile, they play a football game every week for like, you know, 5 months. So, but even so, boxing is a little bit different than MMA because boxing is like literally the object of the game is to punch your opponent in the head as much as possible. Like MMA, there's like grappling and striking and hitting, you know, different ways. Boxing is like punch that motherfucker in the head as much as possible. So yeah, I think boxing is worse than, like, well, you know, there's been all of this talk about head trauma and CTE. What a lot of people don't realize is we already knew about CTE for decades because of boxing. So this isn't like a new thing. We knew about it. We just didn't know how much it applied to other sports. Like another one is hockey. Like hockey doesn't have quite as many cases as football, but it happens in hockey as well. In ice hockey. But hockey is weird because in hockey, they literally allow players to fight each other. Like that's part of why you watch hockey is to watch fights. And I think that's really ridiculous. Problem is a lot of poor people see it as a way out. Yeah, and that's a problem. Because for one, that's not even rational. Because of the thousands and thousands of college football players, you know, less than 100 of them even make it to the pros every year. And then even smaller fraction of that actually A, like get to play, and B, make a decent amount of money. And I don't know, as a spectator, I really enjoy sports, and I think that it's something that we just each have to decide how we feel about. I don't think there's a correct answer. It's sort of similar to the separating art from artist type of thing. Like you sort of decide how you feel. Like, can you still listen to R. Kelly? Can you still watch The Cosby Show? That's just up to you. You figure out how you feel about it. Same thing with sports. Like I still watch football every week, and whenever there's a big hit, I get like really concerned, and I'm like, I hope he's okay. I didn't want that to happen. Like I guess I still have this sort of ideal of how the sport could be, and I see that they're trying. Like they literally change the rules every year. They're trying to protect the players. I don't know how much is gonna work, but they're trying. Boxing is kind of hard for me to watch. I don't ever like willingly watch boxing, but sometimes, you know, you'll have a gathering and people are watching boxing and it's just there. And especially like being from Birmingham, Alabama, because Deontay Wilder is from Birmingham, Alabama, or he's from Alabama. I think he's from like Tuscaloosa, maybe. So he's sort of like a hometown hero to us, and that's like, you know, he has one of the boxing championships, if you don't know who that is. One of the heavyweight championships. So he's kind of a hometown hero to us here in Alabama. So there's a lot of hubbub whenever he has a fight. Yeah, if medicine evolves to where we can treat these things better, that definitely could be and a lot of it too is mismanagement by the actual teams. It's not as bad as it used to be, but if you go back in like the early days, there would be a player who like clearly has a concussion, like no doubt about it, has a concussion, yet they still put them back in the game, you know? So it's stuff like that too that needs to end. We need to change we need to change the culture of the game, you know? Like watching sort of big hits is like part of the culture of the game, and maybe that needs to change. Maybe we need to like start handing out excessive penalties when people like go for ridiculous hits. But if I know anything about America is really, really hesitant to change things, even if they are like obviously bad. So I don't know how that's gonna go. The problem is, if we don't fix this quick enough, someone is just like legit gonna die on the field. And that's just, we don't want that. Oh yeah, the kid with the heat stroke. And then, people, a lot of people don't die on the field, but they die like eventually. All right, thanks Element. Thanks for going to the stream. I'm actually probably going to leave pretty soon too. I'll probably leave in about 10 minutes. I usually stream for about 2 hours, and we are definitely approaching that 2-hour mark. For those who don't know, I stream every Monday. I know it's not the best day for everybody, but it's a good day for me. So hopefully you guys can continue to check me out. And I'm gonna start streaming on Twitch again. I don't have a schedule for that yet, but we'll see. We'll see in the future if I can come up with something. In fact, my friend invited me to go watch NFL tonight, and I'm probably going to do it. What's your overall view of combat sports? Do you see it as violence, or do you appreciate the art form as a masterful fighter? I appreciate athleticism, and I appreciate talent and skill. And I think it's not useful, but I think it's interesting. Like, I think fighting it's a legitimate thing that people do. Like, fighting as a form of solving conflicts is usually dumb, but fighting as a form of self-defense against like crazy people I shouldn't say crazy people, but like as a form of self-defense against people who wish to harm you is a legitimate thing that I think it's cool to see people who are good at it, and I think it's cool to see a competition to see who's the best at it. Like I'm okay with that. The problem is when it becomes sort of this machismo type thing, or this like toxic masculinity sort of thing. Oh, by the way, Snow Golem, my Twitch username is the one janitor, THE1 janitor. But yeah, like if you watch professional wrestling, that's basically what we don't want real sports to become. I like professional wrestling, but obviously it's a storyline, it's made up, these are characters. But every now and then you see characters like that for real in real sports, where they have this sort of like the fact that I'm good at fighting is what makes me a man, and that sort of thing. And it's like, no, that's not what we want. And that's the thing that I don't like. But when people treat it as just a sport and they're humble about it and they understand that, their skill is just as legitimate as any other skill, then it's cool. And as long as, the sport is designed in such a way as it's not like barbaric and like unsafe for people. Like I don't think there needs to be sports where you have a legitimate risk of dying by playing the sport. And that's why football has become more and more problematic. That's why boxing is, as one of you described, horrific. I don't think MMA is as bad as boxing, but like I said, I don't know the exact data on injuries in MMA, so I could be wrong. But I don't think, just like from a like analyzing it, doesn't seem as bad because there's not quite as many blows to the head. But you never know. Because sometimes even minor trauma can lead to serious results. Thanks for the congrats. I am very close to 100K YouTube subs. This is very exciting for me because I've been waiting for that milestone for a long time. So, like, let's see. Let me see if I can estimate. See, I guess because of my most recent video, I've been getting a lot of subs per day. Like, I usually get around like 20 or so subs per day. But I got like 150 subs on Sunday, and I got like 70 on Saturday. Remember the Steve Harvey show? Yeah, I was a big fan of the Steve Harvey show. It was really funny. Football players also tend to start playing tackle football really early in life, especially in high school and college when they are developed neurologically. Yeah, definitely. I mean, probably the vast majority of football players have been playing their whole life since childhood. Are Witcher's books and Netflix show hype in the U.S.? I've seen a lot of people pretty hyped about the show. But I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's like filling my timeline or anything like that. But yeah, I'm going to go in about 5 minutes, so maybe like one last question if you guys have one, or one last comment. Appreciate you guys for coming to the stream as always. I will be back next Monday, or at least I should be. Go watch my most recent video if you haven't. Put out a video on Friday. I'm very proud of. I like the way the video looks. Got the set looking okay. I'm probably still gonna work on the set. Did some color grading. Switched to a different lens. No, I mean, anybody can ask a question. I mean, I'll answer a few of them if there are many of them. Yeah, if you're able to, I always try to start the stream around 2 or 3 my time. It's currently 5 here, so like 2 to 3 hours before now. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but you know. Every now and then I do impromptu live streams on different days at different times, so just keep an eye out. The best way is to click the notification bell. It should notify you immediately whenever I go live. But I know the notification bell is kind of annoying to some people, so it's on you. Hope you can do another live stream with ContraPoints. What's the chance of that happening? I mean, anytime ContraPoints wants to stream, I'm down. I think that ContraPoints is much busier than I am, so I don't really intend to bother her. Like, just whatever she wants to do. But if you want that to happen, you should tell her, because I'm down anytime. Do I use any particular colors to light your set? No, I just use white light. I may experiment with colors, but I don't want to get to the point where I'm basically copying ContraPoints, because I think she's kind of like the pioneer of like using colors to light your videos. At least in terms of like the video essays on YouTube. Not the pioneer, but she's basically the one that has made it popular. I started listening to Childish Gambino thanks to you mentioning it before. I don't listen to much hip hop, but I like that. Word. I'm a big fan of Childish Gambino. especially the more recent stuff. Like when he first started releasing music, I thought it was like pretty good, but I never thought it was like genius or anything. But the recent stuff he's been putting out is like, what is going on? How did you do this? This is amazing. Natalie uses color to create an aesthetic, but I think with your skin tone, you'd look really nice under cooler tone lighting. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I might try some different things, though. But I just want it to be sort of a unique look. I don't want it to be like, I don't want people to be like, oh, you've clearly been watching ConjurePoints. I can tell by your lighting. I don't want that to happen, but there's definitely probably some things that I could be doing. Trust me, I understand the difficulties of using a camera as a dark-skinned person. Like I don't I've recently done some research about it and seen like what other filmmakers have been doing. And I'll try some things. When I think of Travis Scott's album, I didn't listen to it. I don't really keep up with music for real. I just kind of listen to whatever crosses my path, and if I like it, I like it. And if something like really catches my eye, then I may like go into it more, like Childish Gambino. But Childish Gambino basically has just been going viral every time he releases something now, so it's like hard to ignore. And as always, if you don't get a question in or if I miss your question, you can always email me or tweet at me. Email, I always say that email is the absolute best way to get in contact with me and to actually get a response from me. Because I respond to basically 99% of emails. Unless you're like trolling me or something. But people don't usually take the time to email you if they're going to troll you. That's what social media is for. That's what YouTube comments are for. Yeah, I remember reading an article about how film did not pick up dark skin correctly. Do you listen to MF Doom? Not a lot. I used to listen to some of it back in the day. But I guess that's it. Follow me on Twitter. If you have Twitter and you don't follow me, you should follow me. That's another milestone. I'm getting close to 10,000 Twitter followers, so that's pretty cool. If you would like to support this channel, including my videos and my live streams, consider donating a small amount a month using Patreon. That's the ultimate way to support the channel, and that's sort of the main thing that keeps this channel going is my patrons. But you know, I appreciate all of you just for stopping by. That you being here is basically what keeps me going. The patrons are what sort of allow me to actually do it. But if you guys didn't come, then I wouldn't do it. So I appreciate that. Heiko, indeed. Stay Heiko. I guess that's it. I used to do like a bunch of promotional shit at the end of the streams, but I don't even feel like doing it really. Just like follow me on Twitter. Send me an email if you want to holler at me, and consider becoming a patron. That's the main thing. But I'll see you guys next week. Should have a new video at some point. I'm not sure when, but it's soon. Anyway, bye.